Common Council. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, I was thinking the whole time.
Roll call.
Mayor Rader,
Present.
Carol Redhill,
Here.
Dave Smith,
Here.
Mike Engelman,
Here.
Jeremy Holland,
Here.
Mark McAtee,
Present.
Attorney Stephen Ball,
Present.
Clerk Treasurer Lori Carrico, present.
Get a motion to approve the claim, or minutes from last month's meeting.
Mayor, before we start, I'd like to request if you have a moment of silence, Donnie Grindstaff, former member of the city, worked in the city for a lot of years, well-respected gentleman, friends to about everyone. So I'd like to request a moment of silence for Donnie if we could.
That's fine. Okay. So we can get a motion to approve the minutes from the previous month's meeting.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Okay, second, Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Get a motion to approve the claims as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion by Coach. All, second,
I'll second.
second by Buck, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item is the adoption of a one-way ordinance. On there, you have that ordinance? Yeah, right there.
This is ordinance to designate a one-way street. The street commonly known as Public Square Street that runs between John F. Kennedy Avenue and North Line Street shall be designated a one-way street running in a westerly direction from North Line Street to John F. Kennedy Avenue.
Everybody know where that's at? Okay, can I get a motion to that ordinance?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, got a motion by Mike,
I'll second it.
Mark, second, all in favor? Okay, under new business, got a quote on cleaning the carpet here. You don't have a copy of that?
I've seen it on the internet.
Yeah, I got a copy.
Alright, from Davis Solutions. Carpet cleaning, pre-spray, deep scrub, hot water extraction, includes hallway, conference room, treasurer's office, building commissioner office, foyer, mayor's office, and I believe also the little, the foyer out there outside the police department there. I thought it included the police department too. $600. Do you wanna make a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. A motion from Mike. Second,
Second.
Carol, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Alright. Next item is we're gonna have Kern's Insurance here. Our insurance renewal, 2% increase. Okay, you wanna go over that?
Yeah, you should have in your packet where there's a blue and white sheet there.
Oh, I've seen it. I didn't know what it was.
So that's the renewal, it's a 2% increase on the same plan. If you want to continue with the same plan, with Anthem, same deductibles, I would just need an approval. If you want to look at different plans, there is a packet with all the different plans and the associated prices. Basically, similar plans, just different deductible levels for payments. That sort of thing.
Is
It
this-
does, oh, go ahead.
Is this the best insurance plan that we have, or that you offer as far as what we have?
It is, if you wanna keep those lower deductibles, so we have seen where some people are, you know, pushing up the deductibles to try to save on premium, but, I think, you know, from previous discussions, it was pretty important for the city to keep those deductibles reasonable for the employees. We did in the past also look at doing like an underwritten plan, so, everybody had to fill out questionnaires about their health and that sort of thing. Those prices ended up coming in higher, you know, than this plan, so this has been, the one the city's been with for years, but has, you know, we've checked it to see if it's still the best plan.
Can you legally do that about person's health? Because of
You can, if you want an underwritten plan, they will have to require everybody to, I mean, the information is confidential, so it does not go to the employer. But it goes directly, you know, to the plan administrator. Yep. The plan does require a continued Indiana, Chamber of Commerce membership. That's $500 a year, because this plan is through the, it's an Anthem plan, but it's through the chamber, which is why it's cheaper. But that is something that is already in the budget.
Well, I know we looked at what AIM offers, which is your Accelerate Indiana municipalities. They've got a, insurance that they offer. And we provided that with them. Lori, was that 2 months ago?
Probably around.
Month and a half or so?
Yeah.
And actually, they came back and said that what we had was better than what they could offer at the time, so.
Yeah.
I just wanna
Very
put that out
good.
there, that we did do some checking on some stuff. And they could not beat what, we currently have right now with the insurance coverage for the employees here at the city.
Everybody's pretty happy with it. Well, everybody.
Pretty so.
I'll make the motion
I second.
Okay,
to.
got a motion by Mark,
At least 2%.
second by Carol. All in favor?
Aye.
And you have a signature page for us, and we'll have to get with you.
It does not require a signature, so as long as you're okay, it will renew without a signature.
Okay, all right, thank you. We had this discussion the last meeting, but, leash law. We do have, if anybody wants a copy of this, they can have it. This is our leash law and the penalties and everything. I know, Coach, you wanted to talk about this a little bit.
Well, I mean, obviously, this is, as was said in the last meeting, something that we're going to have to deal with. We can't put it off. As the chief said, yeah, you know, we have leash laws, but who do the animals belong to? That's a problem. I have noticed some, and this sounds elementary, I know, but some people put pictures on Facebook, and people identify who the dog belongs to at times. I've spoke with residents in that part of town. They're frustrated, they're upset, they're aggravated. You know, we've been fortunate through the years, two folks that were sitting there a while ago who aren't here, Courtney and her husband did an amazing job for a long time. And now we're stuck. You know, they got to a point they didn't want to deal with it anymore, and certainly couldn't blame them. It's a Loogootee problem, it's a county problem, I think maybe it's a Shoals problem.
I
And,
think it's a state problem.
well, but this is a problem
Yes.
that we have to take care of. And I know the chief and I have talked, we thought we had a meeting set up this summer with the sheriff, he didn't show up. Now, let's be blunt, for whatever reason. So maybe we gotta take the lead and do what we have to do from a city standpoint. Maybe get, I don't, Humane Society, there's still board members on there, talk to those folks. They would know a direction to go. Perhaps the community foundation could help financially to get it started. There's a lot of possibilities, but it has to be more than just verbiage. We have to move forward and do something.
Like I said last meeting, you know, I had no idea the county's sitting on over $15 million in reserves, so.
Well, you were serious about that.
Oh, I'm dead serious about that.
Yeah.
Back in March.
That's before the
or
$5
whatever,
million bond.
Yeah, back in March or something, it was like 17, so I mean, there's like 15 plus million right now in reserves, yes.
Can I ask a question about that, Mr. Smith? If you had the money and money was allocated, what's the money for? I understand there's a dog problem and the Humane Society people, it sounds like, are maybe moving and leaving the area. So if you had money, what's the purpose of having the money? What does that solve?
Well, we had an animal control officer at one time, right? And that helped alleviate some of the problems.
So that money part of that would go to pay for the animal control officer?
I would think so. I would think.
Coach, I can address some
Yeah,
of this if
sure.
you don't mind.
Please.
Cause I've researched this to no end, till my wit's end actually. So, you know, you hear a lot of conjecture, right, about, well, why don't we just have a couple of kennels out here, right, behind wherever, City Hall, whatever. Well, you know, that would be a temporary fix, right? We have no way of hauling a dog, right, or a raccoon. You know, it's not just dogs. I mean, we have rabid raccoons all over the place. So, but my point is, if we had the kennels, you know, who's going to take care of them once we put them in there? Let's say night shift, right? Gets the call. It's usually day shift, but we put them in the kennels. Who's going to feed that dog? Who's going to water that dog? Who's going to exercise that dog? And more importantly, what are we going to do with it? We just can't leave it in a kennel for, you know, a month.
Chief, you could just take it home with you.
What's that? Oh, I got enough right now. I got 2 police dogs. I don't need any more. So, so really, that's not a solution. That's kind of something that would be a temporary fix, but we'd have to have something long term. If we had the Humane Society, right, or a reasonable facsimile of that, where we could take them, and you know they're open for any amount of time, then perhaps we could get those dogs adopted, right, or cats, or whatever the issue is. But we spend, and I'm not saying that we run calls constantly, right, as the police department, but we are relatively busy. And, you know, going on dog calls where there's nothing we can do, right, we have no alternative. So essentially, and it's horrible because the only thing we can say is there's nothing we can do, right? And if anybody knows anything about me, I always try to find a solution. Well, there is no solution, right? Without having some type of alternative to take these dogs. If we had an animal control officer that could take those calls, like I said, we had 11 in 4 days, right? And that's on my shift. That's from 6 to 2, 6 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. So that's a lot of dog calls. So if we had some place to take these animals where they can reside. In addition, once they are at the kennel or the Humane Society, you know, it takes food and it takes medicine and Dr. Oh my goodness.
Surge?
No.
Wallace?
No.
Miller.
Lockmiller, thank you. Dr. Lockmiller, yeah, I keep pointing over there. You know, she's been spending her time and effort pro bono to take care of these dogs, you know, to spade, neuter, to medicate, you know, things like that. So we've actually have a really good resource in her, right, to take care of these animals. you know, it just pains me to see these animals out in the middle of the storm. And, you know, I was at the gym the other day and there's this little bitty one out in the middle, you know, walking in front of the gym, you know, just soaked, and it was pouring rain. And so, you know, it's not fair to them and it's not fair to the residents, you know, in case, you know, the dogs do something to our residents, right? Or another dog or cat or whatever. So if we had an animal control officer, right, that would actually work, right, and be on call, and instead of saying, well, I can't make it in today, which has happened. So that could, and I think once that animal control officer works diligently, within a month or so, we will have this population reduced down. Now, consequently, we have to have a place to take them, right? Or the animal control officer would have to have a place to take them, right? So that's the conundrum, right? So that's where the money would go, would be food, water, buildings. Yes, sir.
When you had your discussion with Sheriff Green, you and the mayor,
We didn't, because he didn't show. We didn't.
So I have another question about the facility. Right now, it sounds like we have a facility. Do we own the facility? Does the city own the building?
The city owns the ground,
The city owns the ground. Who owns the building?
the Humane Society.
the county.
Okay.
No.
It's the Humane Society itself, here
There's a
in the
30-year
county owns it.
There's a 30-year lease on the property.
Do we know where we're at in that lease? Do we have another 5 years at least on that
That was
lease?
100-year lease
There's
and it was
19
done.
more years left.
Okay, so my question is,
Repair, somebody would have to go and help repair it, it's not.
so we've identified a director who's willing to take on this role under certain conditions, but those conditions of this individual would have to be considered among the powers that be. And that begs the question, who are the powers that be? Because in my opinion, this person's not gonna stop at the county or at the city limits if there's a need to address the dog that's out in the cold, or somebody who's afraid of a dog. They're not gonna say, well, this is the city limits, right? And I can't cross this, which begs the question, is it incumbent upon the county also to help pony up some dough? So if you guys can get with the county and the town of Shoals, and if you guys can all come up with an agreement that the city, the county, and the town of Shoals will all bear a portion of the burden.
In the town of Crane.
Yeah, that's, I don't know anything about that, Mr. Mayor, you would be more, you would in the know about whether or not, but if that falls under the jurisdiction of the need, this person is kind of, this person's aware of the need here, and they're willing to sit down and get a plan together for the repair. They've seen the building, they understand the work, they know about Dr. Lockmiller, and they spay and neuter clinic next door, and they put a great deal of time and thought into how to resolve this. But you guys are gonna have to get a buy-in from each other, because it's gonna have to be funded, right? They're not gonna come in and do it for free. They've indicated they don't need a lot of money, but they need a budget, they need resources to be able to actually make it work. So if you guys can all get on the same page and get a buy-in from the county and from the town of Shoals, I think, especially with the research that you've done about it, Chief, it doesn't seem to me like this is a difficult situation.
Are you gonna apply, Jason? You want-
No, it's not me, it's not me. There's a person that delivers pallets of food over there regularly. That's kind of the person over in Jasper that handles a lot of this stuff privately. And so they've been aware of the situation for a while, knowing that Courtney was not gonna be around forever.
Yeah, I think what he said spot on. I mean,
Yeah.
we decide what we're gonna do, get with the county, get with Shoals, get a Humane Society board to put in place, let them make these decisions, and go from there. I
Yes,
mean,
sir. A couple more over on that. You know, I have not personally been in the building. I just know it's extremely small. So they ran out of room really, really quickly, you know. I think it needs to be obviously remodeled, from what I've heard, you know, I've never been in there, so I'm not a witness to that, and it needs to be expanded. Certainly now, it would need to be expanded. As many dog calls as we have, it's out of control, so it would fill up rapidly. And moreover on that is, not just that, we'd also need to, oh my gosh, now I just lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. Yes.
I just had a question. Are you noticing this uptick of calls since the Humane Society is no longer?
No.
So this is nothing
No,
new.
this is nothing
Something you've
new.
been dealing with for a long time.
No, it's because, and no disrespect to them at all, it's just that they ran out of room. And nobody's adopting these animals, so they just keep getting, and then the animals we have out here, right, the 300 calls we've had since October, you know, think how many dogs that is, right?
Yeah.
So,
Very fast dog.
huh?
It's a very fast dog.
Yeah, right. So, but my point of that is, we need to have room, right? We need to have room.
Well, we're
Initially.
just an idea, what if they got with the sheriff and they sat down and we hired a animal control officer, then we could maybe partner and pay our share to Davis County or one of the other surrounding counties to take these dogs.
We've already tried that, so Davies County will not do it because they are full, so they won't even entertain the thought.
We're gonna have to give it to county council, county commissioners.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna bring up. You know, we've all endeavored to get with the county, right? And to see how they could help support this effort, right? And it's just dragging feet. And I'm not saying that maliciously. It's they, you know, for one reason or another, we're just not getting any traction, right? And we need to get some traction on this, so.
Keith, one last thing. On
Yes,
this,
sir.
This leash ordinance, and it may be in this lady's neighborhood, I'm not sure. There's a dog on social media every couple of days in people's yards.
Yeah, it's my neighborhood.
Okay,
Popular?
we know who owns this dog. Can they be ticketed?
They can be
for-
cited, absolutely.
I think we need to, I
Absolutely.
think
I think the
maybe we
police
start
will
doing that. Maybe word will get out. Maybe
Okay.
people maybe take a little bit more responsibility. We can hope.
Certainly, yeah.
But I think, like I said, it's in this neighborhood, and I've talked to some of the people over there, and I would see if we can do something with that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Chief,
This
does-
first I heard about it. so-
Does the citing include a fine?
It does. So we can actually cite them one of two ways, right? And if anybody knows me, knows I'm not a big ticket writer, right? Because people have bills to pay, right? And right now, it's, you know, giving somebody a ticket, that's a lot of money that a lot of people don't have, right? Unless you really tick me or one of my officers off, that probably it's not gonna happen. So my point of that is we have two ways we can find them. We can find them through the ordinance, the city ordinance, or we can find them through a state statute, okay? Now, the state statute is a little more, there's a little more emphasis on that, and it is more costly than an ordinance. So I truly believe that if you give somebody a ordinance ticket that's not exorbitant amount of money, then they're more likely to like, hey, you know, they gave us a break, instead of opposed to giving us a big fine through the state statute. So yes, to answer your questions, we have two ways we can go about it. Now, if this is a continual thing, we will bump it to a state statute, and then, you know, that's a big chunk of change. So,
I stood in Jasper, first one's free, second one you pay out for, third one you pay out a lot for.
yeah, that's what they
And
do.
the fourth
Same
one,
way here.
They take your dog and they don't discuss it with you.
Yes, sir, and that's what we do here. So the first one, we're gonna give them a warning, the second, we'll give them the ordinance, the city ordinance, and then the third one will give them the state, and that's a pretty good hefty fine.
So we'll reach out to the county on this.
Yes, sir.
See where we're at first.
Mayor, can I say something? That's okay.
Hi.
Thanks, hi, good morning. So, Mr. McCoy, to kind of give you a little, I know a little bit of background about it, but, so I understand that the sheriff decided he did not want to fund the animal control position in the county anymore. The county decided to pull the money back. So the county has the money for the animal control position. The county does. We don't. Now, I don't know if it's exacerbated the situation that we've had here, but that's the bottom line. And then when the sheriff made a comment about shooting the dogs instead of putting them in, that's when the couple here got a little bit upset.
That's right, that's right.
They said, we're not a kill county.
That.
So, and that's
somebody
part of the
actually
reason
said
why
that?
they're no
Yes.
longer part of it.
The sheriff.
So there's a little bit more background than that. I think the only way that we can get the county to do it is if we pass a referendum to send to the county and say, hey, we need you guys to fund this position so the council and the commissioners can actually do something about it. Cause if not, I mean, what are they doing? They're blowing us off, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys have been waiting to talk to the sheriff or anybody else from the county for 3 or 4 months now? It's only getting worse. The leash law will help for a little bit for onesie twosies, but like he said, he's got 4 leashes out of 300 calls. Or four callers, so a referendum to the county would force them to do something.
Yeah, and the
Even if it's just one of these things to you guys, but at least you guys have said, hey, we need an animal control officer in the county. You guys have the money in your budget. Here's our referendum to make you guys do something about it.
Yeah, and the money they had in their budget was not for a full-time animal
No,
control.
no.
It was only like, I'm gonna say it was only like $9,000.
Yeah.
It partially paid for
They
someone's
probably pay for
salary.
their gas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
a full-time position. It was, I think it was
Well,
like maybe
I would
9,000.
encourage everybody to go over to the county commissioner council meetings too.
I have a question about that, I don't want to belabor it, but Chief, you said that you had 11 dog calls
In 4 days.
in 4 days, okay. That feels to me like we're supposed to be spending our money to deal with that, right? And so I'd be interested to know how many county calls they get, right? Isn't there a record, like, don't you guys?
Yes, sir,
keep a
so,
record of that?
that's how I didn't come here till February. The mayor didn't hire me till February. So, but I had Mandy, our dispatcher, I had her go back to October, right? Just kind of 6-month buffer, you know, because I didn't know historically where we were at. So she went back 6 months, October, 6-ish. And so that's how many it was from October till this was April, right? So we've had tremendous amount of calls since then, or it might have been May. I didn't bring that document with me. However, you know, it's averaging the same amount.
Here within the city?
Yes, sir.
Does anybody
Yes, sir.
know what the county?
I do
problem
not.
is?
Now, they would have a record of that.
Respond to theirs.
Yeah, they're not responding to calls anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
I called one time and they told me to take a picture of it and put it on Facebook and see if I could find the owner.
Commissioners, yeah, I get that, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the
Yes,
next
sir.
item here.
I get it.
Last thing is the special use of equipment fees, and what that actually means or is we use our street sweeper for the town of Shoals. We got the town of Crane wanting to, have us come up there and clean their streets for them. I know Bo goes over to Shoals at times, and a couple other people do as well, and Bo and I have been talking about this for a little while, and we need to come up with some type of fees, cause the current fee and the hourly rate is not even close to where it
Doesn't
should
cover
be.
fuel.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to that as well, to expand a little bit. We have specialty equipment that we have used to assist other communities with. Montgomery, Shoals, for example, we need to put a price tag on it. You know, emergency situations, if a guy goes out and helps a neighboring community, you get a pat on the back. But if they call and ask for something, hey, can you come out of your way? I think that there needs to be a price tag put on this stuff, as well as damaging equipment. We got a lot of people going out here and running over these water meter pits. Not only tears up their lawnmower, but it tears up our metering apparatus. I think there needs to be fees set on all that, something in writing that says, do this, don't do that. I know the town of Shoals, they've got a town policy that says, if you're caught in my meter pit, I'm gonna fine you $500. And I don't know if they've enforced it or not, but it scares people to think that I've got a water leak, I'll just go out here and turn my water off. Well, you can't do that anymore. We've always pushed for that. Call us, we're always on call. Somebody will respond. but they still insist on shutting off the water meter at the meter pit. That stuff belongs to us. If it breaks, then they call us and say, I need my water shut off. Oh, how'd this get broke? Well, I don't know. So I think that we need to sit down and develop a lot of policies and procedures with penalties as such.
Do you have some ideas of how other cities handle that and do that?
Yeah, they penalize them.
I mean, you have them amounts.
No, I do not.
Or is, leasing city-owned equipment to other towns and cities? You think you can come up with some numbers on that, Bob?
That's my goal, is to me finding the time to get all this stuff done. My time's limited. I was hoping that we could sit down, have a little powwow, put our heads together, come up with a reasonable fee, and then I can expand on it from there, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't believe there's anything else.
I got one real question, quick question. Is there, since the attorney's here, maybe can answer, is there a policy or a code of conduct for elected officials in Loogootee as far as social media is concerned? Because I see a lot of transphobic, homophobic, racist stuff coming out of this elected group. And I'm just wondering, could you create a policy and maybe avoid such conduct? Because you are elected officials, you represent everybody, and I think that there's people of color, there's people of a different orientation, there's lots of people that you're serving, but when we see on your social media the trash you talk, it sickens me. So the question is, can you put that on the agenda and address it? Social media policy.
You're talking about
Code of conduct of elected officials.
as far as using their personal computers or using government?
Getting on social media and talking trash.
I mean, I think that perhaps if they're using city-funded equipment, that's something that could be regulated, but what they do in their own personal time, I don't believe there's anything that we can do.
That can be white trash. Nothing we can do about it.
People have First Amendment rights.
Right. That's my
Yes,
question.
they do.
That's just,
But when they work for all of us, there should be a code of conduct. Hell,
I think so.
I agree.
people at the White House even have
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
except the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Everybody's, okay.
You know, really,
Anyway, that was just,
you all work for us. Do
Thank
you, you remember that, right?
We represent everybody in the city, not a certain group, organization,
Exactly.
church, or anything. We represent everybody.
we see different.
We see it different on your social media accounts. Yeah. And so y'all know they're about to be shared with everybody, so buckle up.
Okay, Kendra,
Can I say something?
Yes.
So for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Kendra Hovis. I'm the superintendent at Shoals Community Schools. And I'm here just to express my gratitude to the council and the Loogootee Police Department. Unfortunately, the sheriff of Martin County discontinued our partnership to provide an SRO in our school system. And we are small at Shoals, so we didn't have the means to, start our own police department. And so we were getting ready to start the school year without security because of the discontinuation that the sheriff did. And I'm not able to share why he discontinued that because I myself don't even know the reason. I can't get an answer. So I did reach out to Chief Hunt, and he, within just a couple of days, got right back with me and the mayor, and we met, and I hope it passes. I don't know if it has, but if you guys have voted on it or haven't, I just want to express my gratitude for being open to this, and thank you for considering to provide security to the 700 students that we have at Shoals. So.
It did pass last
It
month.
did.
based-
Wonderful.
Based on the changing of the language from taking out the county sheriff and putting in the city and the Shoals School where it needed to be.
Thank you so much.
So it did pass.
Kendra, we have a, omission and an addition, to the, MOU.
Okay.
So I'm sure you'll approve it. It's nothing major, but, we've got it over here, so if you wanna, glance at it after we conclude the meeting, you'll be satisfied with it, so.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Who made the motion? Mark? Second? Okay, all in favor? Meeting adjourned.